Hey guys, so I'm doing a bit of a hopefully short, relatively impromptu video. I wasn't planning originally to make a video today, but I have just finished a take-home final exam today, which constitutes the final real obligation of the semester that I have, aside from having to lead discussion in our department seminar on Friday, which won't be hard. I'm doing it with two other people, and we've already met to talk about it. And it's a topic that I think everyone will be interested in talking about anyway, so I don't think it'll be hard at all. So basically, I'm done with most of my real real obligations this semester. So I'm just feeling kind of nice and wanted to make a video. So I thought that I would finally make a video about a year of reading one's own, which is kind of a little event project put together by Jason over at Old Blues Chapter and Verse and Kelly over at Books I'm Not Reading. I will try to remember to leave links to both of their announcement videos for this project. And in this project, they're just trying to basically just read the books they already own and not buy any books, except for a few very specific exceptions in the new year in 2020. I think Jason referred to it as a year of being more content with what you already have, which I kind of like. And it's not necessarily a anti-consumerist sort of thing. It's just sort of like, you know, we all probably own a lot of books that we haven't read, and it's nice to just, for me at least, I think it's nice to decrease the percent of books that you own that you haven't read. So anyway, I thought I would join them because I have been acquiring a ton of books over the past couple of years since joining BookTube. I think that's common. I own somewhere between 500 and 600 books, which given my age is quite a bit, and given the fact that I live in a one-bedroom apartment. And I'm at a point where I think I've read about half of them, maybe just over half of them, and I'd like to get to a place where I read about 2/3 of them, where I have read about 2/3 of them, and that means probably just reading the same amount of books that I usually read in a year, about 100, maybe a bit more than that, which means I might have to be a bit ambitious, but I'm not gonna force myself to, you know, to read more than I normally would just to get more of the books I own read. I'm just gonna read at my normal pace, but that is sort of the goal, to get to a place where I have read about 2/3 of the books I own. And just something for me feels like a good sort of proportion of read to unread books in my collection. And I am gonna have some exceptions with regards to acquiring books as well. They are also very specific. The first one is editions of books that I already own, where I want a better copy, or if perhaps it's a book I've read and want a copy and don't own yet, I can buy a nice edition of that. In particular, I would really like to start collecting, start acquiring nicer copies of all of Shakespeare's plays, individual copies of all of his plays. So there's that, and also I will be judging for the BookTube prize for at least one round. So, you know, obviously I'll be acquiring about, I think, 6 or something books for that, and that's obviously an exception. And then the last exception is if Steve Donahue sends me books to review for open letters, then I will not count those. The only sort of strict caveat to that last one is that I have to actually write a review of the book. I can't justify allowing Steve to just send me free books. I have to be writing reviews of them, because Steve did send me one book this year that I didn't end up reviewing. Yeah, so those are the exceptions that I will be allowing, and that's sort of my goal for doing this. I own a lot more books than my bookshelves can hold right now, and I'm gonna take you through what my library looks for at the moment very quickly. So if you'll just walk with me for a second, you'll see I have that one really tall bookcase, and then these kind of shorter ones, and then this one on the end, in addition to being very dusty, is I don't know, it's not straight. So my main Christmas present from my parents that I've asked for is 3 more of these, so that I can replace these 3 with that. This one, this short one, and this short one will be going right here, where I have removed my desk because I wasn't using that desk and because I had put it together wrong, so it just didn't seem like there was much of a point in keeping it. And this also demonstrates to you just how many books I own beyond those that I can manage to shelve. And then this bookcase I will be getting rid of, just because it's kind of crappy. I think I got it at Walmart. But I think with those 2 extra levels here and keeping these 2 on the ends here and putting them over here, I think I should be able to fit all of these and maybe even have some extra room for perhaps CDs or something, or DVDs. So that's kind of where my library is at the moment. So I will have those tall bookcases, and I have a few different plans for the beginning of the year, just to sort of get everything straight and set. So one, I'm going to be doing a time-lapse video of myself setting up those bookcases and getting all the books onto the bookcases, because that will involve a huge reorganization, because there are books in that pile on the ground, well, not pile, but in those books that are just on the floor. There are all sorts of genres there. There are nonfiction, fiction, poetry, plays, etc. And so I will have to go through and add those in the places where they go when I add in those new shelves. And my plan for doing all of that is actually just to take every single book off the shelves, no matter where it is, and just arrange them basically in alphabetical order by genre before putting them on the shelves, and then just putting them all on in one big sweep. Because like when you alphabetize books as you're putting them on the shelf, you sort of it gets really annoying, because you have to you have to put this one book here, and you're like, oh shoot, there's not enough room on that particular shelf, so I have to move some books from here, move them down here, and then you're having to move books from that shelf to the next shelf, and it's a huge hassle to do that. So even though I know it'll be a big task to alphabetize them on the floor before putting them on the shelves, I think that will ultimately make for a bit less insanity. So I'm gonna do that time-lapse video. It's gonna be one big time-lapse video. And what else am I doing? I'm gonna take a sort of tally of my books, because I don't, I want to, sorry, Bessie just knocked down a glass. It didn't have anything in it though. I'm gonna take official tally of all the books I own, because I want to know precisely how many I own. I know it is, again, between 500 and 600, but I'm not entirely certain. And I also want to work next year, because I won't be buying any books, on making a gigantic spreadsheet of all the books I own, and just having this Excel file that just has all this information about every book I own. The obviously author, publication date, title, original language it was published in, whether it was translated, maybe the background of the author, number of pages, publisher, etc., etc. Just because I like nerdy data sets like that. So I will be doing those 2 things, and maybe I can make a video about that. If you're interested in a video about that whole process, then let me know. But the other thing I want to do is, again, because I will be not acquiring any books, so this collection will be staying mostly static next year, I want to do an official tour of my collection. Just quick videos. I'm not gonna be stopping and talking about every single book on the shelf, but I want to just go shelf by shelf and be like, here are the books on this shelf, here are the books, and so they might just be a sort of series of really short, maybe 5 to 10 minute videos. I know the last time I said that a certain type of video would be 5 to 10 minutes, they all turn out to be a half hour long, but really I think that the shelf tours should go pretty quickly, because because a lot of the books I won't have read, so I won't be able to say much about them anyway. Yeah, those are my plans. And I've been in this last part of the year, I've been acquiring a bunch of books in preparation for this year, acquiring a bunch of books that I've wanted to read for a long time, and that that are sort of bucket list books so that I can read those over the course of the year and won't be tempted to buy them next year. Anyway, and I've been getting rid of some books, so I don't have to dread reading books I might not like. But anyway, I'm going to sign off now because there are construction workers who are about to appear outside the front of my apartment on my porch. So anyway, have a nice day, guys. Bye.